and it's been a while. I'm so sorry. Hopefully, I can get back into the swing of things. DC fandom is over for now, and I had a really good time with DC fandom. Um, but now it's back to regular videos. I can react in time. I had my reactions. I should have had them live, but oh well. Maybe next time. I enjoyed it. Maybe I'll cover some later. But anyway, this video is Dark Knight's Metal, the Legends of the Dark Knight tie-in, and we have about 6 short stories covering the backstories of the various Batman appears who appear in um, death metal. And let's get to it. The first one is written by Scott Snyder, James Tynion, Joshua Williams, arted by Tony Daniel, colored by Marcelo Malo. And this story actually takes place during DC Death Metal 2, where they're putting the Batman who laughs, um, they're putting his brain into the Batman Hatton. And we get a little recap over what the Batman who laughs went through. And we see that he was normal until that Joker thing happened, and after that he went crazy because of the Joker poison and killed the Justice League, and went dimension hopping, and met his other evil Batman. That's when he started that his own Justice League of Evil Batman, which was awesome. And we see the events of Hell Arisen play out in this comic. Well, it's covered, and up to the point where he is killed by Wonder Woman. And it's actually revealed that while universe hopping, he found a Dr. Manhattan version of Batman, and so that happened. He actually lobotomized him while he was weak, but still getting his power, so that he was able, in case of emergency, he was able to put his brain into it. We also see other products of his dimension hopping, where he explored, found Court of Owls Batman, Caveman Batman, Prometheus Batman, Mr. Freeze version of Batman, and Bane Batman, which Bane was Batman during the events of Forever Evil. But that's a story for another time. And then we see his transformation into Darkest Nights and his ultimate end goal. And he, with this story, ends off where he actually gets consciousness in the brain of his new body. And the next story is actually the roughest story. It's really good, but it's very uncomfortably violent, and pretty much this story establishes that Bruce was very, very evil as a kid. We see him torturing animals, killing um, killing animals, torturing them, hurting other workers, beating other kids, and Alfred knew. He's just kind of just covering for him. It reaches its ultimate breaking point where the, his parents take him to the movie that fateful night. They get robbed by there's a robbery by Joe Chill, but Bruce ends up stealing the gun, killing his parents, and then playing the victim. Alfred knows what really happened, and as soon as Gordon comes over with the news of what they found out, what really happened, Gordon gets shot by this evil young Bruce, and that's when the mansion becomes a battleground, and Alfred is able to trank him, and hoping he'll be out longer than he is. Bruce comes dressed in as Little Batman or the Robin King, and which looks like a little Batman, and kills Alfred, and that's where this comic leaves off. That was this is probably the most intense comic in the book. This one's written by Peter J. Tomasi and arted by um, Ivan Placenta, colored by Rob Lay, and Peter J. Tomasi did Batman and Robin, work on the New 52 Batman and Robin, if you don't know him. Well, anyway, the next story is Batmanosaurus Rex, and this is written by Marguerite Bennett, arted by Jamal Engel, and colored by Chris Sotomayor, lettered by Dave Sharp. And this is a pretty short story. to the point. Just get Batman, Scarecrow narrating the story, telling him that Batman pretty much trapped in this cave, uploaded his consciousness into the robot Tyrannosaurus Rex in his cave, and not much to the story. Simple but effective. And the next story is Castle Bat. I don't think we've seen this guy in the story. We've seen him on the map, but not in, as a map as Castle Bat, but not in the story. And this backstory is actually pretty disturbing. And the artist, I believe the artist is what's his name? Oh wow, he did the art and color. Francesco Francasilva. He did the art and colors, and he does a really good job of letting us know just how dark the city has fallen. And we see Bruce. He's an old man, so he can't do anything as Batman. His son Damian has taken over the mantle, and pretty much not doing a good job at it. Not satisfying Batman anyway, or Gotham. So he undergoes an ancient blood ritual and kills Damian, which Damian sees it coming and accepts it, and creates an effigy in his blood, which causes him to fuse with Gotham City, and the big castle comes out of the ground in Gotham, and Castle Bat. It's horrifying. It's one of the this and Robin King is actually pretty horrifying to me. And the next story is actually it's really horrifying in a good way. It's I mean horrifying in a bad way because obviously it's dark, but this is the stuff I love to read. Anyway, um, Castle or Batmobile's story is next. Pretty much, Batman put made a bunch of tech and put himself in all the tech, and the people ended up rebelling against him. And we get this awesome panel of him, Batman, being impaled on a spear by the people, and the last thing left of him is a lone Batmobile called Batmobeast, and that's where that story ends. And it's kind of sad because Batmobeast died at the beginning of Death Metal 2. So, dang, would have liked to see him again. Oh well. The next story is written by Garth Ennis and arted by uh, Joel Jones, colored by Jordi Belair, lettered by Rob Steen, and this actually takes place when Batman's trying to clone himself as a younger person so he can outlive everybody, but ends up cloning himself as a baby, and there's nothing he can really do on his own. This is surprising. Garth Ennis wrote The Boys and The Punisher, famous for creating The Boys, the comic book The Boys, and the writing for The Punisher, and he famously does not like superheroes, so it's nice to see him on, and this is a funny story. Well, and that is all for this book, and the the actual the actual book. It's a really good book, and I wish they were able to do what they did with the last evil Batman, the Red Death, Murder Machine, and the like, where they got their own standalone book. But well, short stories. This works. It's effective, and it really gets the job done. I think some of them probably, hopefully, they'll all show up in the book. I know B-Rex and Batmobeast are done for, but Darkest Knight, Robin King are going to have a big role, I know. Castle Bat's looming on the overworld map at the beginning of each issue of Death Metal, and I don't know if Baby Batman will show up. That would be awesome. But I was originally going to give it a 9 out of 10, but I've given this a 10 out of 10. Highly recommended, especially for a tie-in. Actually, if you really want to dive into the universe, you can get this book, but as of now, this is just an extra fun book. I recommend it, but I wouldn't say you needed to read it to get the first 3 issues of Death Metal. But that's just me. Anyway, thank you for reading or listening to my review, and I will talk to you guys later. A minor note, I use the word effigy in the wrong way. What Batman or Castle Bat actually did was draw a symbol in blood. I've been paying attention to too much Blair Witch and watching a little too many Let's Plays of the horror game of Forest, and I misused the word effigy, and I apologize, but I'm clearing it up at the end of this video. So sorry about that. All right.